I use this device. It's a 3D scanner. My iPhone connects to it, and there's a battery pack. Not here right now, but basically it's just records an incredible amount of information. Allowed me to record the carvings on these corbels that you see in the video, and it did a great job. I was really surprised. It was definitely a learning curve. All kinds of idiosyncrasies, but once it gets going and you figure out how to use it, it's an amazing tool. So I hope you like this video. This house was missing 2 corbels, strangely enough. So I set up a scaffold and a ladder and put up some blue tape. I learned after a lot of trial and error that I needed to apply something that the scanner would read better. So I found, believe it or not, something called dry shampoo that ended up making everything work a lot better. And I took a bunch of scans and was able to patch them together in the software and came up with a model that looks like this. Then I was able to export this model to SketchUp. What I did was I isolated the carved areas and ended up using those, but recreating the more uniform curved profiles and swept that profile along a path. So it ended up being like a hybrid kind of situation. Although it's moving fast in this video, it took a long time when I was actually modeling because it's so information intense. But ended up with this, which allowed me to have all the data that I needed to go on to machining. So I always double check before I start machining just to make sure that the machine's actually going to do what I want it to do. And I'm just hogging out the lower section, which I called the chin section. This is the finished pass. I should have had the passes a little tighter. It wouldn't have ended up with the amount of fuzz that is on this piece. These are the scroll areas. Double checking again. And roughing out. And we have finished pass using a tapered 1/8 inch ball nose finishing bit. And I think it probably took a little over 2 hours to do one of these runs. And there were 2 of these because there were a total of 4 for 2 corbels. And then I wasted away on the main body, the bulk of the unnecessary material. It just kind of cuts down on the wear and tear of the machine and the bit as well. Then I fastened it to the table. And do my double check again. In this case, I had to tilt the actual carving slightly in order to fit with the parameters of my machine, and some of the carving also was very steep, so it just worked out better this way. It was a bit more work. And this here is about 2.5 hours sped up to 10 or 15 seconds. So after this, it was a matter of cutting parts and getting the piece back to its proper orientation, adding kind of a triangle block in the back and cutting off a little bit in the front. And then I have all these parts. Then I just had to make the chin area fit the main body. Hard to see, but there's a bit of a tongue on the bottom side of this. It's still part of the material that will get attached to the main body. And then the scroll pieces I affixed temporarily to the sides with screws. That way, when I glue everything together, it'll register back in the proper places. And then it's time to butter up all of the surfaces with epoxy. And I use a filler. That's what that white stuff is. And then I make a point to clean up as much of the epoxy as possible, because when it hardens up, it's rock hard. Here's the finished result. Used a little Bondo in between the joint, between the chin and the main body, and I carved it and sanded it. It ended up looking just fine in the long run, and primed everything. Got back up on the scaffolding and attached it in appropriate places to the brick and the metal structure above. And here's the end result. I was happy with it. It was a lot of fun, a lot of work. I hope you enjoyed it.